Oh, so, hello everyone, and welcome back to the One Point Safety Show with me, Scott Hartley, and my co-host Scout Andy. How are you doing, Scout? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I see the face there, all burnt and crispy. So yeah, so it's to tell you, going on your European travels.
Yeah, I'm on my holidays for the next 2 weeks. So we've got here on Sunday over at Lanzarote, and it is warm to say the least, averaging about 27 degrees. And me, in my stupidity, decided because we couldn't get in the villa very quickly that I would walk around and for a few hours in the sun, and that burnt my head completely. So yeah, what an idiot that I
No,
am.
this is the first
Hence
time
why.
seeing a hat, man. That's the first time
Yeah, I
seeing a
know.
hat. So
I
it's only
don't
because you're
tend
bent
to
your head. That's the only reason
it
why.
is.
Oh
It
yeah,
is. I don't tend to wear hats, to be fair, but yeah, it looks all right. Yours is looking very smart as well. So yeah, if you are watching on YouTube and you want some merch, let us know, and we will get you some merch. We'll get that all squared away and sent out. So there's a little bit of news this week then,
yeah.
obviously, Scout,
Just a
because
little
the
bit, man.
minute
Just a
we
little bit.
the minute we put the recording mic down, we decided to get the announcement. The white smoke came from the chimney, and yes, Josh Harris has bought the team. It's all signed, sealed, delivered. No more Dan Snyder. New ownership. The Hog Group,
Oh
as it's
yeah,
being known.
baby.
So the Harris ownership group has now took over this franchise for 6.005 billion dollars, which is unbelievable, really. I mean, what are your thoughts initially on obviously listening to Josh Harris's press conference and Magic Johnson and the like? What's your thoughts so
I
far?
mean,
Then,
they're saying all the right things, and that's all you really want to hear from them at this moment. You don't want them to bullshit us either. So obviously, you got to keep a little bit of, you got to try and see through the lines at times, but in between the lines. But it looks like he looks like he's saying what he means, and that's what I like, and I like what Rails as well when he came on in this interview. I like the way he just kind of just spoke out. Like most of these guys had like this fixed kind of you know, script reading form and stuff like that. Even Josh did, but Rail just walked in and went, yeah, 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 and just talked as real as human beings more than actually anything else. And I really liked how his style. And I say you can tell they want him to win, and they're already putting money in already because we'll probably speak about those things,
mm-hmm.
bleachers and all that, and these extra bits and pieces that they've done already. So yes, so at the moment, yeah, happy days. I mean, you can't ask for anything more at this moment. So thank God, fucking Dan Fan Snyder is gone, and now we've got hopefully a guy knows what he's doing. So yeah, man, it's the only way is up, man.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, it's just to get this far. Honestly, I never thought this day would come. It was such an exciting day. I did have a beer, obviously that night, and yes, it was just the joy. I mean, not just for us. I mean, if you looked around, you looked at the stuff that was going on the DMV. The little. We knew there'd be a little bit of a party going on afterwards, but my word, I mean, they took over down. They took it over, and seeing Josh Harris dabbing up fans and going out there and them dancing and having a good time. I mean, this franchise has needed this. These fan bases needed this for so long. It's not just us that are long suffering. I know we're 4,000 miles away over the other side of the ocean. And what gets us into this and to possess us into doing this in the first place is a strange one. But we've never seen winning in our fandom. That's for sure. I mean, barring a couple of playoff appearances.
Yeah,
Um, the legacy that Dan leaves, you can't take anything from it at all. And when I think I said it last week, when you're as low as a snake's belly, the only way is up. You can't get any higher than that. For me, what I want to see with ownership changes is not a lot really. I just want them to sign the checks and be quite quiet behind
let's
the
stay out the
behind
way.
the
Yeah,
scenes.
stay out the way. Let the football guys do the football things, and if the guys don't work out, you hire and fire the next lot. That's as simple
Mhm.
as that, and that's all I want him to do. I don't want him to be messing around. I don't want to be another Dan Snyder getting involved in trades and I mean Jay Gruden mentioned that he Snyder was picking these guys and he wasn't doing any film, wasn't doing any research himself, and he's picking these random dudes to go, yeah, we're going to get this guy, and it's like, well, what's the fucking point in being the coach here? What's the point in actually being?
Yeah,
Because obviously these guys aren't suited for what we want, and yet we still got to get them because the owners just choosing them, and it's ridiculous. The owners, you're meant to be business stay in the business side. You own the place, yeah, okay, but you trust the head coach, or you trust whoever it is to run the whole show for you. You know what I mean? You should make it as easy as possible for yourself as an owner. That's what I would do. You get the guys in that you really want. You want the big CEO. You get a guy you really trust, and then it filters down. Well, you do it with the right people, like Josh mentioned in his thing, in his presser, was about going to be getting the right players, not the right players, but the right people in place all the way through. But obviously, that's going to take time to get the guys that he wants. And some of these guys might be working for somebody else at the moment. You know what I mean? So it's more than likely these guys are really good at what they do. So they're going to have a job somewhere. So it might take a long time to get these guys in. So like next season and things. So I'm see how it goes. But thank God, Snyder's gone, man. I've had enough. So
yeah, I'm comfortable what they're trying to do. The three mantra that he came out with, the three-headed mantra, which was, he talked about the community, he talked about the fan base, and he talked about running it right and being a successful place to come to work and an enjoyable place to come to work. No, somewhere that. What was really interesting is one word he did say was somewhere where it's a safe place to work. Now I found that quite intriguing. That reading between the lines, we knew what happened with the Mary Jo White report that came out at the end, where Dan has settled with a $60 million fine, to come out with the biggest fine ever in the NFL. I mean, we will probably discuss that a little bit later on another pod, but for now, obviously, we understand what happened. There was accusations by not just the one of the executives who worked there. It wasn't a cheerleader; it was just an executive who worked there, female executive, about lewd behaviour from Snyder by putting his hand on her leg and allegedly trying to put her into his limousine, as it was known. That was proof founded. She found that and said, "Yeah, I agree that did actually happen." But more concerning, I think we already knew about this, which it was old news really, but we did know about it, was that he was withholding money from the NFL. Looking at that, having two books on board,
absolute scumbag, mate.
It's just a joke, and
imagine
it is absolutely
skillful
disgusting.
you've got to be. Imagine how skillful you've got to be with the numbers.
I know.
Two different books, the legit books and the fraud ones. I mean, it's just, it just smash of
it surely can't be worth it, can it? I mean, I know, and you know as well, that when you withhold ticket sales or you withhold the sale of shirts, merchandise, whatever you buy, we might think to ourselves, oh, we're going to buy a hat, a jersey, whatever it is that you're buying. There is a percentage of that basically goes to the team, but the vast majority of it goes throughout the entire league. And its sales of shirts are worldwide. They go around all 32 franchises and are shared out equally. If the teams aren't getting that is something that, it beggars belief. I mean, that would have been the one thing that you could have nailed him on anyway.
Don't forget though. I mean, we've wanted Dan Snyder as a fan base for such a long time. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why all the fans have kept the money in the pockets. A lot of them have gone, no, yeah, I'm not giving Dan Snyder 1 more cent. And that's totally understandable. So what's Dan Snyder done? He's thinking, shit, this is costing me a lot of money here to still, and he still wants to own the team. So what's his other way about it? Well, what I'll do is I'll fill the numbers and keep all the money. You see what I mean? And that's basically what he thought. If I fill the numbers, I'm still going to get the money that I need to kind of live a good life and, carry on type thing. And then obviously he got caught and he's gone. But
especially when it moves on to
bye.
It moves on to your point, really, doesn't it, that we made earlier? I mean, especially when you look at it and you say, well, if he's withholding all this money and he's been proved that he's withheld this money, he's got that fine of 60 million, and he's the door has hit his arse on the way out. Thank God, he can sail off into the sunset with 5.99 billion, not 6 billion that he wanted. Ha 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 ha.
I know. Yeah. That's anyway. The thing, isn't it? It's like 6 billion. What's 60 million to that? You know what I mean? It's a joke. It's a joke of a fine. It should have been like 100 mil. Or something that's going to at least slightly dent him, make him think twice next time. 60 mil for him when he's just gained 6 bill is just it's
especially when you purchase this for 800 million. Do you know what I mean? Back in the day, it was
he times 6.5 his investment, really, hasn't he?
Exactly that. I mean, but looking at it to that point, really, that we mentioned just before there, around the looking at the withholding of the sale money and withholding things going on there, that just beggars belief, because we look at the we've got the worst ratings in things like facilities. You know, he's pumped absolutely nothing into FedEx Field at all. He's put nothing into Ashburn. And then we'll go back to it, I suppose, when we first started. What really is good thing from this new ownership to see is that they are putting the money in and they're starting to say that these are the right things. I mean, I've heard somewhere saying that they're going to invest 100 million into the facilities for the players, and they're also going to invest 150 million into the surroundings of the stadium and the internal upgrades on things that fans really need. I mean, we've discussed this and we've been there ourselves. I think they just need a way of speeding up concessions, speeding up, you know, getting a beer, being able to get back to your seat very quickly. Whether they adopt like the Bundesliga approach where they've got a beer man, you know what I mean, and he walks around and pours you a pint there and then. Maybe that's the way to go. I don't know.
You think about, think about it. The first day that Harris got in, there was new things being built in the stadium.
I know.
New kind of like walkways, and I think it was like, I don't know, like rails.
They've got new rails. They've got new rails on, haven't they? Instead of the ones that Jalen Hurts. People fell on Jalen Hurts.
You know, he's done that. He's changed the big time screens. You know, those massive screens that you got. He changed them to be actually a lot better. And also, at practice, this starting this week, he's put in actual seats for the actual fans.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's good, isn't it?
Really
the
cool,
new bleachers, yeah.
It's little things, but it makes a big difference because it actually goes, well, actually, I actually give a shit about the fan. And that's important. We you know, and he said that from the start. And a few days later, a week later, he's got all these things done in 1 week. Imagine what he's going to be like, you know, in like a year's time. Imagine what all the changes he's going to have made. You know, it's going to be exciting, man.
I mean, how many years now have we also seen that? Like, we've seen fans, podcasters we know, fans who we've met as well, who are standing by the side of a practice field, you know, being a little roped off swing. Now we've got professional bleachers. It looks great. Do you know what I mean? It looks like a proper training facility now. Yeah. It looks like
an actual angle to see because
correct, yeah.
Because there was no levels there. It was just literally on the level. So if you're 6'5", yeah, great, you can be able to see everything. But if you're a short ass, you can't really.
Like me.
Yeah. You know what I mean? We'll be able to see too much. So with the bleachers being on an angle like as they should be, everyone's going to have a decent view. You know what I mean? And that's what they're there for. They're there to see what's going on. You know, rather than just be stood there in a massive just pool of people just standing around. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a much better experience for the fan. So that's again another great sign.
I think just for now, we've just got to give them the biggest leash that they're going to have. I mean, they've got a long leash now for a long time. You know what I mean?
Let's face it, they've only done more than what, as you mentioned there, he's done more in 1 week than what he's done, what Dan Snyder's done in the last probably 5 years.
I did like the little dig at his press conference, and whether that was a dig it down or not was, you know, you need to be more than a fan.
Yeah,
you know yeah. I thought that was quite good. I was like, wow.
Yes, I am a fan, but he needs to be more than just a fan. You know
exactly
what I mean? Yeah, definitely.
But I'm quite hopeful that we're in hopeful hands, and you know things are going to get better.
It can't get any worse, mate. It can't be worse. Even if this guy didn't do anything from now on, he'd still be doing better than what Dan Snyder's done. It's, you know what I mean? And he's only been there a week, and he's done more than I said before. He's done more than what Dan's done in 5 years. He didn't make anything for the fans for the training complex. He's done nothing. He's not upgraded anything in a long time. The only thing he upgraded was the pitch. Remember the field.
Yeah, that's it.
Actually, FedEx Field itself, and it's not even straight. It's all over the gaff, and that's why guys keep slipping and falling over and hurting themselves. You know what I mean? It's like obviously we're from an English side of things, so when you see Premier League pitches, like football, soccer pitches, they are like bowling greens. They are beautiful. Do you know what I mean? And they play, you know, how many games a year on that? So many, like, you know, it's 20 games a year minimum on that pitch. You know what I mean?
Carlisle's wins it every year. Wins the pitch of the season in League Two. Really? It has done for the last 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And you know we're playing over 40 games on that field. Do you know what I mean? Which is mental.
Yeah,
to think about.
Lower leagues play more because they've got more cups, haven't they, and things as well.
But it's a £250,000 investment every season, and that's the sort of thing that they're going to have to keep doing.
That's the product, isn't it? The product is on the field. So shouldn't your field be as best as it could be?
Absolutely.
Getting the best of the best, like, you know, groundsman or whatever it is to make it work, to be, you know, supreme. And again, that will reduce injury. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
It makes sense. Because let's face it, man, how many times we had guys blow out their knees on there?
Oh,
and, these guys are worth millions, these guys. You know what I mean? Their contracts are worth millions and millions and millions. So why is our pitch worth like 50 grand? Do you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. that thing should be absolutely like a bowling green. He should be getting the best of the best. And if that means coming to England to get the Premier League guys to come over and sort their fields out, get it done. Yeah, it'll cost you money, sure, but you'll have a creme de la creme field. And at the end of the day, that's the product. That's what this product is. It's actually football on the field. So let's make it as best we possibly can. Now, again, they might wait because obviously it's wait for the new stadium to get it all super duper pitch.
Yeah.
But if he's willing to spend money, why not sort the pitch out now? Because we're still going to be a FedEx for the next probably 5 to 10 years. Being honest, we got at least 8 years, I think, haven't we?
I think so. Yeah.
But
I think they need to make a
stadium. Do you know what I mean? So why don't we sort the pitch up now and protect the players a little bit?
Exactly that. So there's been a bit of other news, really, Scouts, this week as well. I mean, as we said before, and I've been waiting for this news for a while. The minute Josh Harris took over, our first round draft pick and our second round draft pick was signed. Surprise, surprise. So yes, Emmanuel Forbes and Quan Martin have signed their rookie contracts with us, which is fantastic. That's every one of the rookies signed up, ready to go. Whether they'll stay on the 53, that's soon to be said. Andre Jones, I'm not too certain whether he will or not, but maybe he'll get the nod over somebody else. But we'll see. We'll see what he's got in training camp. Also, a few signings this week as well. So we've signed kicker Michael Badgley, who's most recently with the Lions, 26 for 26 at one point. I think he missed 2 extra points all season, and he missed 2 field goals, which were both over 50 yards. Good bit of competition for Joey Sly coming in here, and I think Joey needs to be a bit careful with his job.
He's solid, Badgley, but the thing is, I mean, the one thing, shout out to Louis T, because I watched his podcast yesterday, and he kind of put stats up against each other with Sly and Badgley, and the percentages of like where he's making the field goals, where they're not. And Badgley's really bad from 50 onwards. He's got 38% completion rate from 50 yards and beyond. Now, normally a top kicker, like say Tucker or Gould or whoever, Carlton, those guys are about 60% from 50 plus. So that's the difference there. Sly is actually a lot better from the 50 yarder, so a lot better. He's around, I think he said it was like late 50s or early 60s. He's actually pretty good. I think he's 17-27 from 50 yards plus. But when you look at the extra points, that's where the huge difference is, because Badgley's like 97%. He doesn't miss extra points. The other guy, Sly's like 84. And don't forget, these guys are like, these are chip shots for these dudes, and they're missing easy extra points because they are easy for these guys, and he's missing a lot of them. So he's not concentrating, you know what I mean, or whatever. It's too easy this, and he misses, or what? I don't know what it is, but that's the biggest difference at the moment. So you got the power leg on Sly, so you can take a field goal from a longer distance, or you can have the more solid.
It's the finesse, isn't it?
Inwards, and he's more automatic. Do you know what I mean? So it just depends how you want to what your preference is and how well they do in training camp, obviously. But yeah, definitely something to keep an eye out for, because definitely is it's going to be a challenge for Sly.
100%, and I agree with that. I think it's going to be an interesting training camp battle. I mean, hopefully, and in my mind, I would hope that most field goals that we were attempting would be between the 30 to 40.
Well, that's what you hope, isn't
5
it?
yards.
And that's the other thing with him, with Badgley's numbers as well. What kind of killed him a little bit is like he's got low in the big long distance kicks, but he's also completed a longer field goal than Slyers in his career. A 59. What is it? He's a 59 yarder. So that's his personal best in the NFL. So he's obviously he can do it, but obviously he was always in an offense when he did kick. Don't forget, he wasn't always a starter. Hasn't played 16 games every season, 17 games now. And he was also with the Chargers, who are also a very powerful offense. Do you know what I mean? And only a bit, and Detroit a powerful offense. So they weren't doing a lot of 50-yard plus field goals. They're always
exactly.
See what I mean? Because they've got a better offense. So he might work better for us, because if our offense is going to be anything like theirs, we can obviously be a lot closer to the sticks. So
you'd hope so, wouldn't you? You'd absolutely hope so.
So I can see why they brought him in anyway.
The good there's another signing as well here. It's Byron Pringle, wide receiver from Kansas City.
I don't know about this
I don't
guy.
know either. I'm sure he's got obviously punt return and kick return
I
special
mean,
teams,
if they think
mainly
Cazal's not it,
six.
I mean, if they think he's
Yeah.
not it, or he's still injured with his hamstring, and you don't really know what he's doing. I mean, fair enough. I mean, I can understand why they're bringing this dude in, but as a wide receiver, we don't need him as a receiver because that's what he is, isn't he? He's a receiver. He came from Kansas, wasn't he? He used
I
to be.
think the one thing I think the one thing for me would be if I was Dax Milne now, my eyebrows would
Yeah,
be
I'm
very,
done.
very
Yeah,
raised.
yeah, yeah.
I think
Get your
I'd be
agent
like,
looking around,
oh,
mate, because
yeah,
you're going to be cut pretty soon. And
I think
after
so.
it probably will be the 53. That's when you get cut around then.
Yeah, I mean,
Around,
I don't know if Pringle would make the 53 here. I mean, it's going to be a tough one. I mean,
depends on the
Simon
punt returner,
Thurston,
you said. Depends on the punt returner.
he put in a question saying, will Simon Thurston, shout out to him. He said,
Okay.
Pringles, does he make the team? For
Well,
me, I'm not certain he does.
yeah, he's definitely on the fringe. You definitely got to think about. He's a borderline guy. It just depends.
Mm.
One, is he up to speed on anything? Because has he been training? Has he not been training? Because he hasn't had a team. You know what I mean?
I don't think he needs to understand the offense. That's one good thing because he's obviously
Yeah,
come
because you
from the
know he's
Chiefs. So
offense, which is
yeah,
good, which is good. But also, yeah, it's about everything's about production, isn't it? At the end of the day, if this
yeah.
guy can come in there and wow people with punt returns, kick returns, then he's going to get a chance because we need a punt returner. It's simple as that. And if he's the best guy, well, then he's going to make the 53. So it just depends on this Kaz Allen. That's the only one because it's not going to be between
I
him.
know.
It's between Pringle and Allen for that position. I think personally. So we'll have to see who beat each other out there. But at the moment, you'd still think he's the vet, he's got the experience, he knows what he's doing in the NFL. Kaz Allen's a newbie guy. We don't really know what he's got. He's been injured as well with his hamstring, hasn't been able to run as much, etc., or as fast as he normally would, etc., etc. So I can understand why they brought somebody in, but I was a bit like at the start, I was like, what the hell you got this guy for? But then when you start reading into it, it's like, punt returner, fair enough. So I think at the moment, I'd still put him favorite over Allen, just because you haven't seen what
Interesting.
Allen's got because he's been injured. So
That's true. Plus, he's also an undrafted free agent. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean he's
There
dirt
is
cheap,
that.
but
Yeah,
Pringle's probably dirt cheap. He's probably like vet
he will
minimum
be
as well.
vet minimum. Yeah, something
So
like that. You've got to
yeah.
think.
So again, you're getting proven vet, and you can tell that's probably an EB thing that I reckon what he brought
Mm-hmm.
in. He knows my offense. If you get a couple of receivers go down, he can come in and do a job. etc. etc.
Exactly.
He knows it. He can hit the ground running. So being honest, he's probably got a good chance.
I
To
mean,
get.
what is our wide receiver depth like? I mean, if we think about it, there we've got Terry, we've got Jahan Dotson, who's the third stringer. You've got
Diami
Samuel, then you've got
Brown,
Diami
Sam.
Brown.
You've got
Fifth,
what's his
is
name?
it Kemp?
The tall
Is it
lad,
Kemp at fifth? Yeah.
Kemp. And then you've got Dax Milne,
Oh yeah, yeah.
the receiver as well. And there's another dude as well. I'm sure there's another dude.
Mitchell Tinsley's there as well, isn't he?
Kinsley,
Yeah.
and there's one more as well. I think we've got like 10 receivers on the list at the moment.
There's quite a lot. There's quite a lot.
That will be
Yeah.
cool. I can't remember everybody's name at the moment. Because we haven't really seen them in practice. So, yeah, a little bit limited there at the moment. But
It'll be interesting. But at least we know the top five. I mean, I don't think
I think the
I don't
five
think we're keeping
solid.
anything more than six. Maybe Kemp is an absolute special teams.
Yeah,
You normally get like three. You normally get like two or three, don't you, for special teams? So I would say two probably for special teams. That their coach is going to be saying, "I want that."
7 to 8, I reckon, on wide receivers.
Yeah, maybe seven.
Yeah, because you'd use someone, as you say, for special teams. So
yeah,
especially the fringe guys. Yeah, I mean.
So really, this battle then is between Milne and or others, and Pringle, I would say, and because Pringle gives you that
Allen,
special teams.
Allen and the other dude you just mentioned,
Mitch Tinsley, yeah.
There's still a space for me though. I mean, yeah, I think it's between them three really. I mean, and then obviously I think there's one space still available for the big wide receiver. Now you could say, well, Kemp's a big wide receiver, and he's 6'5" and all that. But if he's not any good, then he's just special teams. You see what I mean? So it's kind of like, okay, then. So that's a space where there's definitely a gap because all our receivers aren't like 6'4" plus.
No, they're not.
Our last one in Cam. So it's kind of looking at that could be something that look into. I don't know. I don't know who the other guy. I mean, it might be another dude that we picked up, but I
Yeah,
can't.
there was an undrafted free agent. I can't remember
Yeah,
his name for the life of me
and
now,
he's
but
tall.
he
He's
was
quite
quite a
tall.
tall guy. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and they might use sorry, might use tight ends as it instead. You know, your Hodges,
possibly.
the Turner. So those things could be might be an extra tight end and one less wide receiver if you think about it that way. So you're looking at your 50.
Yeah, maybe.
So we'll have to see how that rolls. But yeah, I mean, but I do think we need a big body receiver if Kemp's not good enough.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. And one that we've got released here is Andrew Norwell has been released.
Yes. Oh, goddamn time, man. I can't believe it's
So,
still in a job. Well, he was in a job.
do you know what was so funny was I was looking at the social media reaction to this, and obviously, Ian Rappaport and others were putting on saying, "Oh yeah, Pro Bowler Andrew
Yeah,
Norwell,"
yeah.
and
All
it was good.
pro, all this
And
crap.
then,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
then
10
all of
years
the
ago.
people, yeah, and then all of the people underneath were like, "Future Viking, future Chief, future this," and I was just like, "Oh
Hey,
my
hey,
god,
I said
just take him,
I'll
just
drive
take
them.
him."
I'll drive him to the facility now. Do you know what I mean? As long as he got away from my team, brilliant. The guy is he's done. He's past it. He's done. Trey Turner as well. I know he's got another job. I can't remember where he's gone to now, but
He's gone to the Saints now.
Saints again. He
Yeah,
won't be seen any time there because again he's dog shit as well. So let's face it, right? Ron's done the right thing. He's getting rid of them two bums. So I'm well happy. I mean,
so Chile on this, Peter Chilton, shout out to Peter. He said, How drunk did Scouse get when Norwell was released?"
Oh yeah, I nearly celebrated as hard as when we found out Dan went. So this is, it's quite a big one, man. I'm still half pissed now, really.
I like it. I like it. So there's been a bit more news. So the name change. This has been brought up again because of obviously, I know we have to spend a little bit of time on this, but because of the Harris Group taking over, obviously the first thing that came out was Magic Johnson had said apparently, "Oh yes, we are going to look at changing the names." He never quoted or said any of that at all. It was all a bit of muchness. Bit taken out of context there. The press have obviously dived all over it, and now we have we have a name change talk again around Twitter and talk around even if bookmakers are putting names on. I mean, we've got Spartans at 6-1. We've got Back to Football Team or Club at 7-1 and Redskins at 50-1. So obviously, and every name in between you can possibly think of, Owls, all sorts of stuff. Yeah,
Admirals, fucking Armadas. It's a joke. It's a genuine joke. I mean, I understand the military side of things and DC and capital city of the whole USA, but no, just to be fair, do I like Commanders? Not really.
No.
I wasn't happy when we first got the name. But at the end of the day, I grew up a Redskins fan, and everybody else did. So for me, if it's going to be changed, it has to be something that's going to be going back to that heritage of style. So if it's not Redskins, because obviously, of course, I think every single fan would love to see the Redskins back at 50-1 is definitely worth someone's tenner on that. Do you know what I mean? But let's face it, as Harris got the balls to bring that one back, because that would go against the grain of every woke motherfucker in the USA. And there's loads of woke people over there at the moment. The USA is so woke, it's unreal. So it's a very difficult one that, unless you can definitely get some sort of big time sponsors who are willing to sponsor him to go back to Redskins and I'm willing to stick it out with him, then it'll come back. But realistically, it won't. Okay, so the next best for me, from my point of view, would be the Warriors. And what you could do is bring back the actual Redskins emblem, because the emblem wasn't the problem; it was the name. So, and you can put them as a warrior because they were warriors. They still are warriors. Do you know what I mean? So if we can somehow do a deal with the Golden Gate, which is the basketball team, they have warriors as their name. If we can do a deal with them or somehow to get that over, and then we can get out. I mean, even if we just, I mean, honestly, I think all the fans would just love having that emblem back on our helmets. Do you know what I mean? And our merchandise, and we can do that because that wasn't the problem. Do you know what I mean? That wasn't the issue. It was always about the name itself, the racist slur on it. So I don't see a reason why you couldn't do that. So then you can bring back the old school fan because you've still got the emblem. You look at that emblem, you go, okay, you would normally say Redskins, but you go, okay, Warriors. Do you see what I mean? Just makes so much sense. Just do that, Harris. If you did that, mate, I tell you, you're getting like, okay, yeah, you can't get Redskins back, but you're getting the next best thing. And I think, that's, and I think the fans would love you for it. So if you listen out there, put it to your board and see what you think, man.
So to that end, then Darren Hatherley, shout out to Darren in our WhatsApp group.
Oh, yeah,
He's come out and said, "When will people pop themselves on that we won't be the Redskins ever again?"
Yeah, I mean, there's always that lingering hope, isn't there? But we virtually know, we're 99.9% sure. We all are deep down. We all know that it's not coming back. Would we love it back? Of course we would. I just mentioned that we would love it back, but at the end of the day, it's not coming back, and we just got to kind of move with the best. But Commanders for me still isn't the one for it. And to be fair, if you're going to change your name and you're a new owner, then you should change your name to what you want rather than what somebody else did for you 2 years ago. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I understand that Harris probably will change it at some point, but that isn't the main focus. He mentioned it himself. It's not on this main. It's not on his 5 things. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think this does? Do you think this does happen? Do you think we will go through another change?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
I believe there will be a change. It just won't be soon. It won't be like this year, next year. We'll give it kind of, getting close to a new stadium. I think there'll be a new name because end of the day, he doesn't want to be known as Dan Snyder's last or Commanders. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't want that. He'd be like, wait a minute, I spent $6 billion on this. I want to be able to name what I want to name it. Do you know what I mean? Along with his team. So I can definitely see it happening. I can definitely see us changing the name again, but not anytime soon. No, you're talking, I'd say, good 3, 4, 5 years down the line. Or he's even.
I hope so. I really hope so, and I hope
by that to do the research.
Yeah, of course it does.
So, and obviously to do all the copywriting and the trademarking and everything else, it just takes a long, long time. Don't expect any time soon, but I can definitely see it happening in the future.
So a bit more news. Just there is loads of news at the minute. Obviously, it's one of them. Quarterback on Netflix, the TV show. Have you watched it yet, Scout?
I haven't, to be fair, mate.
Oh, what are you doing?
Still not a chance,
I know.
But to be fair, though, it's Captain Kirk. You know what I mean? And
I know.
Pat Mahomes.
And then Mariota is the third one.
That he was an arse. So
he was an arse.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's but I know Howell said no to that, didn't he?
He did. So that's what I was getting into. So a lot of the quarterbacks in the league have been approached for season 2 because they are going ahead with a season 2 because of the ratings that it's received. So far, those who have said a definite no is Tua, Hurts, Fields, Stafford, and our very own Sam Howell, who turned it down and said he wanted to stick to just football. It was time to stick to football this year.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. I mean, if we go through a rough time, because this thing's over like 9 months, isn't it? I've heard that it's a long format. It's not like a couple of weeks or whatever. It's like a long time through the whole season. So you're just going ups and downs in every season for every quarterback. And obviously, if I'm Sam Howell, definitely I'd have stayed away from it 100%. I mean, the only one that really should go to is the Cleveland guy, Watson.
Watson.
Because if you bring him into it, he'd be able to change the narrative, spin his PR the way that, look, man, I've changed. I'm a different man. You know what I mean? So it'd work really well to bring him involved if actually he'd want to do it. But that'd be really good for his PR and his overall image. But for me, with Sam Howell, I mean, he doesn't need to do all that shit. And let's face it, we got to treat him like a rookie still. So he's going to have even more bigger ups, bigger downs than others. So we don't want him being like absolutely hammered on Netflix TV when we've had a bad time. Do you know what I mean? Like a few weeks in or whatever. So he doesn't need that extra pressure to being grilled, having cameras in this, and he will have that on game day. But at least he can get away from that a little bit. At practice and training camps and stuff like that. You can't if you got a documentary about you in it. Do you know what I mean? You can't do that.
Which in some ways is decent because of why they haven't got the Hard Knocks there. So in some ways, that's the benefit of not having Hard Knocks there. Do I still think we're probably going to get Hard Knocks in season?
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah, but
this depends if Harris wants it. Because
I know.
Does he want to spin it so quick? Like I just mentioned with the Watson thing. Do you want to spin the team dynamic and look at this? We've already made this amount of changes already and blah, 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 blah. And, really put it out there to the national media, which that's why Jason Wright wants it. Because because it'll make it a lot easier for him to say, look, this is what we've been doing. See it in action. Do you know what I mean? We're not just talking the talk, we're walking the walk. So, and if Harris wants it, then I can see it happening in season 1. But again, that's a lot of pressure. Does Ron want it? Because Ron says he didn't like last time he had anything like that going on. So I don't know.
Yeah, he had the Amazon Prime in Carolina, didn't he? As far as I'm aware. Yeah, all or nothing, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he hated it. He said he really, really didn't like all the cameras in there all the time when it's
Mhm.
like private meetings and stuff. Um, so yeah, so everyone's different, aren't they? So it's just a thing. But if Harris wants it, I think that could be definitely could be a thing in
Be
season.
interesting to see what happens there. So today is training camp, the start of training camp. Then Scouse, and
Finally, man,
there's been
6 weeks of
some.
pain, man, and now it's here.
It's we're nearly there. We're nearly there. We're back to football pretty soon. Looking at it, I mean, there is one injury that's came out so far, and that is Deron Payne has a toe injury. He's been classed as day to day. Not sure any more on that. What day to day means, but from what
Probably drop the
John,
bottle aftershave on it or something like that.
yeah, I mean,
In the bath,
from what John Kimes said, basically was if there was a game today, he would play, no problem at all. But they're just going to take it steady. He may have a broken
Well, yeah.
toe, something like that. Don't know.
Oh, yeah, well, you want that fixed before him getting back involved. If he's such a big man,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? Those little things could become big things when you're twice as heavy as like a receiver. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I get you.
make sure that that he's right.
So it was just installed today. So a bit of a run through. Nothing really massive going on. There's no real workout. 60-minute training camp today. They're going to ramp it up to 90 minutes tomorrow. Then we're at 120 before the week is out. And then we're back to fans are being allowed, I think, this Saturday. It might even be Friday. Not sure when fans are allowed in, but today was a behind closed doors kind of workout. There has been some media shots. What was really interesting is neither Chase Young nor Logan Thomas had any sort of brace at all on them today. So
That's good.
they've gone away
Yeah,
from that. So they look like they're good. I mean, Chase was in a leg sleeve, if you
yeah,
like,
yeah.
or
That'll just help.
leggings. I
That'll
can't
just
remember which
help
way it
with
was.
this like the possible swelling and stuff like that that he might
Mm-hmm.
get because he probably still get residual swelling from after any
Just a
training.
bit. And any compression will do that for you,
Yeah,
won't it?
exactly.
That's
Yeah,
what it
you're
was.
probably getting his ice bath after training and stuff like that. All the preventative stuff. So yeah, that's fine. That's good. Good. It's definitely a good sign.
And then I think today there was a pass breakup from Emmanuel Forbes against Terry McLaurin, which is really interesting. I mean, he got the better of Terry on one route, but then Terry absolutely burnt him on another route. So it's a bit of a bit of 50-50
Yeah,
here. I
he's
mean,
taking on one
when
of the
you when
best,
you
man.
when
He's
you
taking on one of
when
the
you're running
best,
with
man.
when you're running with the big dogs, it's hard. You know what I mean? So and what a good
And
what a good
corners are designed.
story.
No, they do get burned. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they do.
Because let's face it, the quarterback's got time. The quarterback's got time to throw the receiver open, and you're there. You're playing man or zone or whatever against McLaurin.
Oh,
It's a problem. Especially if you're 1-on-1 with him, it's a problem. So, you're going to expect you expect like the best cornerbacks in the league to get burnt by someone like McLaurin. So, and I mean, speaking of McLaurin, did you see the that Jeremy Bounds doing like these little YouTube vlogging type stuff? Have you seen that on YouTube?
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, I've
No.
watched it before. It's like 15 minutes, and basically it was about no, like the small, no, like a lot of them went away to Florida to kind of work out.
Oh yeah. It's a
Yeah,
Fort Lauderdale. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, and that's what it was about. It was all like obviously mostly about the army and stuff, but there was a lot of like kind of what Hal was doing. Jacoby Brissett was doing a lot of like coaching of the players in the red zone, like seeing
Wow.
this and that and pretending to be a DB and saying, "Look, if I'm showing this, that you should be doing the back shoulder throw." Or honestly, it was really, really interesting. No,
What was really good though
like a
was
coach. He came across like a
was
proper
it
coach percent.
was it all of the time all of the
There's
receivers went down there,
all the
both running backs
all
went
the
down there.
receivers, two running backs were there. There was Patterson and Williams, but the other was obviously the main boys. Like Gibson wasn't there, or
Oh, I thought AG was down there.
no. Well, I didn't see him on that vlog. If he was on there, I mean, I didn't see him. McLaurin was there. He looked a beast, man. I mean, I'm talking like just size. He looked so much bigger than the other receivers, like muscular, like actual physical frame. He's definitely put on some meat, like you know what I mean.
Cool.
So that's good. And I know Jahan was there, doing this thing, skinning guys.
I'll
So
give that a
fast, man.
watch.
So fast. Yeah, definitely, man. And it's got Howell. It's got the three quarterbacks. Even From was there. Just
Nice.
there's no real kind of pressure. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a guy hitting you and all that, but it was just nice to see. And then obviously showing you like some training stuff that this guy was doing with the army and the two running backs, just doing some training in the gym next day. It was like 2 or 3 day thing. It was quite interesting. Just 15 minutes, worthwhile.
I'll certainly give that a watch. So there's press conferences today again from Ron Rivera, who said he was happy with what has happened at training camp. And not a lot obviously going on. He said the installs worked well. They've carried on from OTAs, and they look like they haven't missed a step. They've come straight back in, and he's happy with where they are.
Everyone's fit, not overweight.
you're gonna hear that. You're gonna hear that, aren't you? Time and time again, you're gonna hear that everything's good in the camp because the last thing you want to do is say, "Oh yeah, the progression
Guys
hasn't
doing
been as we
this or
thought it
whatever.
was." Yeah,
But the
that's
thing
just
is,
not gonna
though,
happen.
I watched that. I watched that. The one's conference,
Presser, yeah.
and basically, did you see his body language?
Mm.
So much better, so much more
He
like
looks relaxed, doesn't he? He
relieved
looks
and relaxed, and
happy. Yeah.
he actually looks actually genuinely looks excited rather than just saying he's excited about being involved. He's just like, even when someone said to him, both, even just mentioned with, "Oh yeah, we're going to talk about football," he just started a big massive grin on his face because
Yes,
you can say all that shit is taking a toll on him, man. All that Dan Snyder shit. And he's had to ask questions about it continuously. But at least now it's about football, which that's what he is. He's a fucking football coach at the end of the day. You know what I
you've
mean? That's what he
absolutely
wants.
You've absolutely nailed it. I mean, looking at it again, there was AG had a press conference, Ron had a press conference, Jamin Davis and Sam Howell. I can't remember which one it was out of, and it obviously wasn't wrong. I think it was Jamin Davis. They're only short; they're like 2 or 3 minutes. They're not very long questions. One of them was asked.
Oh, the 20-minute one of one. That's what I saw.
Yeah, 20 minutes was Ron, but the rest of them were quite short. Obviously, the player ones. And one of them, I think it was Jamin Davis, was asked a question about Ron, and he said, "What's it like now that Ron hasn't got to deal with these questions, these off-field questions, and he can just concentrate on football? Can you see that there's a spring in his step?" And I think it was Jamie Davis was like, "Yeah, he's good. You can see him smiling." And it's exactly the same way that we talked about, just then. His body language is so much better. It's so much different. It's the doldrums have gone. It's as if the doom and gloom isn't there
the weight's
anymore.
been lifted off him. Yeah. I mean, he's still
Great.
under pressure because obviously his job's on the line, but he feels like, well, I can deal with that. That is something that I can control. He can't control all the shit from Dan Snyder and all these questions. You know what I mean? Where he can actually go, okay, well, yeah, I know my job's on the line. He knows it's on the line, and he's got to produce. But the body language is massive. It's night and day, man. From even just last season, never mind the first 3 years I was reign of dealing with all this crap. So I'm hoping for really big things, man.
So am I. So we'll finish it off then, Scouts, with some fan questions that have been submitted to us. So thanks to everyone on Twitter and in WhatsApp in the groups that have said, sent the questions. We really appreciate it. So Darren Hafferty also has asked, should I consider a tracker mortgage or a 2-year fixed mortgage when it comes up for renewal? So you've actually hit the nail on the head here, Darren, because I used to be a mortgage advisor. That was my job prior to joining the Air Force.
What have you not done? I mean, you've been
exactly.
a stripper. I mean, you've worked on Lime Street in Liverpool, which is
that's it. Yeah.
People know what that is. You've been working those places. You're mortgage advisor, but I was safety guy. What's going on, man?
So I would say stick to a fixed rate at the moment, purely and simply
that's what I would say as well.
Yeah,
I like a little bit of certainty when it comes to the mortgages because it's just ridiculous.
Correct. You just don't know what the RPI is going to be.
It keeps going up and up. So the interest rates at the moment are ridiculous.
Whatever you choose, Darren, don't choose it without a redemption penalty. So that then gives you the opportunity to leave if you need to leave that deal. So try and find a fixed rate without a redemption penalty. Otherwise, it'll cost you a bit if the rates do change massively. That's my advice. Anyway, Juicelicious has put, do you think that we have the makings of a stable O-line in the camp? Or are we still on the lookout for free agencies and or other teams' released players to shore up the O-line prior to week 1? He said, I'm not seeing the answer on the O-line as it stands.
Yeah, I mean, good question. I mean, there is quite of yes and no, I'm going to say, because Von's been talking glowingly about Charles locking down that left guard position. It's all on him because most of the positions are locked, I think. I think most of the positions are locked already. Left guard is wide open.
Yeah.
And you could say, well, are those two actually good enough, though? Chris Paul and Sadiq, are they good enough to really be a true starter, 17-game season and be solid every game? That's the place I can see us getting something, free agency or a guy coming, getting cut after the 53 or whatever it is. You could see something like that happen from there. But that's probably the only position realistically that is not that you would see them doing something about. I think Leno is locked in. I think Nick Gates is going to be the starting center. I don't think they're going to move him anywhere. I think Cosme at guard and I think Wiley at right tackle, and they're all locks. Do you know what I mean? They are locks. We got some depth in some positions on the line. centre is mostly the biggest one. We've got three guys there that are pretty decent, I think. So, guard is a little bit shaky after you lose your first guys out, but I can definitely see us getting at least one other dude in. I can definitely see it, but I don't know when that would be. I mean, it might be down to an injury, but I think, yeah, I can see what he's saying about it. He doesn't really see the answer at the moment. I can see it because there's too much ifs, especially with the left guard.
That's exactly it, Scouse. It's I mean, I saw a tweet
On.
from Mitch Tischler, and he was saying that there was a list that came out saying how much people had invested, and each teams had invested in their O line, and Commanders were last. We were 32nd out of money wise out of our O line.
Yeah, well, you
that's
get
the point, though. You're not. Sorry, mate. You're not paying a big left tackle, though, are you? That's the point. I mean, most teams are paying a lot of money for a left tackle, and we're not one of them.
Being in position, mate. And I'm always a firm believer in life, man. You get what you pay for.
Exactly.
You're not going to get a guy for like $5 million per year who's like totally elite, one of the best in the NFL. Because the only time you get that after on rookie contracts, that's the only time you ever get that. As soon as they're like available, or free agency or extensions, whatever, those guys are 18, 20, 25 mil. Some of these guys. I mean, Trent Williams, what's he on? About 30 mil a year. I mean,
something like that, 26 mil, something like that. It's crazy
money, but he's elite, and he's probably one of the best to ever play the game at left tackle as well.
Yeah, 100%.
And he's still great now at 34, 35. That's the kind of standard that you want, but that type of standard costs money. It's simple as that. You can't be too cheap and nasty all the time. You can get away with it. Like the odd guard might do well for one season or maybe even 2 seasons at a cheap rate, but 9 out of 10, eventually you got to start paying. You've got to start paying. The trench is the most important place. If you've got your quarterback's got time, you can any quarterback in the NFL can slice and dice anyone if he's got enough time. And I'm talking people that take from bank average dudes, below average dudes, but NFL kind of caliber. You can cut everybody up because you've got the time to see everything open up. Because receivers will get open at some point if you give them enough time. They will get open. It's simple as that. But if you've got like no time, 1 second, or it's literally got to be out of his hands straight away. Like as soon as he drops it, it's got to be gone. It's a hell of a lot harder. It's a lot easier for the defense to try and stop those balls or even pick them off. So O-line is definitely one of the things we have to invest in going forward, but we haven't got the money. I mean, that's the problem as well now because we've linked it to the D tackles and we've linked it to the wide receiver and those type of things, and it's difficult, man. It's difficult to get an elite O lineman in. We've got to have to do the draft and hope that he can hit the ground running next year. That's what we're going to have to do.
Yeah. Or with that 97 million that we're going to have in cap space, you
still got to re-sign 2 bookend defensive ends though.
That's true. And what's happening with Cam Curl too? We don't know
exactly.
Yet.
We need Curl on a deal now, man. I mean, I know you haven't spoke about it. They're saying, well, we'll look into that, blah blah blah. But that needs to be done before the start of the season because otherwise you will. I've got a feeling you'll hold out. Out because at the end of the day, the guy's too good to be on a 7th round end of last season's contract. You know what I mean? Like, what's that about 800,000, something like that? As if around 7th
something like that. Yeah,
it's ridiculous, man. The guys, pay the man, or at least pay him like an upfront bonus or something like that, a signing bonus now. So you know what I mean? And then you'll start to work that way. So and you obviously be quite happy. And then you get his money next season with the real deal. Maybe do something like that. I mean, it needs something. It needs sorting out. So guys, get around the table, get it done.
So Canada Mike's asked, will you be brave enough to admit that part of you is missing Snyder already?
That's an insane question.
Absolutely not. No way, no how.
Absolutely insane question. I don't think you'll find anybody sticking up for Dan Snyder ever. So, I mean, I haven't got the balls to say it. Want to know why? Because I don't. I don't give a shit about Dan Snyder.
So he's also asked here, we're in the Super Bowl and I've won tickets. And I get the news at the same time with you and Burrows present. Who is getting the other ticket? Well, the answer to that question is you and Burrows are going and I'm not going. Genuinely, because I would get absolutely killed off my wife for going more times or going without her to the Super Bowl. So You boys enjoy it.
She's not a
I'll
Super
let
Bowl
you have
fan.
the
She's not a
tickets.
Redskins fan, is she? Or
No, no, not at all. No, but
she's a Jags fan. She can't go to
it'll probably be a Jags Jags Super Bowl. That's what we're looking at.
imagine that. Jags against us. And
She just shouted across there. Just give me the tickets. Don't worry about it. So
yeah, you sell off like 20 grand each. That's what you probably
exactly. Yeah, that's it. Well, why don't we just do that? We'll sell them for 20 grand
them,
and just get season tickets.
Season tickets,
and then every game will fly back.
It's 20K, man. It can get you there and back as well. No, you also can pay for our travel.
That's what I'm saying.
For a season.
But he's also said the gods say the Commanders will win the Super Bowl every other year, but Everton win the English Premier League every other year too. Lord Lockhart must decide.
Oh man, what kind of question is that, Mike? I mean that's brutal.
From a Wolves fan as well. I mean, come on, lads.
That's brutal. I mean, I think I've got to go. I've got to go with agreeing with it right now, right? Only because Everton is so. There's such a gang of bums that about time they need this. No, they should win something. You haven't won nothing since 1995. You know what I mean? Any sort. So I'll go with that. I'll agree to that only because obviously. The Commanders are just as bad. 30 years of no trophies. So I want to see the trophy being lifted. I want to see that Lombardi lifted here. So I will do it. I'll probably do it until it gets a bit monotonous. So maybe 6 years in, then I go, no, I don't want it anymore. So I've seen three Super Bowls. I'm happy with that. And then everything can fuck off back down to championship level.
So he's also asked here, do you think the feel-good factor in the change of ownership will lead to people to think we will get 12 wins this season, as he's predicted? Well, again, he's going to speak this into existence, isn't it, these 12 wins?
I hope he's right. I hope we do get 12 wins.
So do I.
I hope somehow hits the ground running and looks like the new Peyton Manning. If anything like that happens, then brilliant, and 12 wins is definitely on the table then. But we just don't know yet. And that's the problem. It's like, I'm all in on Howell, but what's his ceiling scary high, but we don't know what it actually is yet. We don't know what he's actually going to be like. So until we start seeing, 5, 6, 7 games of him, then we can really get a good flavour of what he's going to be. But I mean, just because of the quarterbacks we're playing, I'm still going to say we're not going to get 12 wins. I think the top ceiling for us is 10. I really do think it's 10.
Yeah, I agree.
More than that is a genuine bonus, man. It really is.
It is. So his last question then, which is very sensible, he said, what will it take for new owners to keep Riverboat Ron on at the end of the season?
Oh, you mean what would it take for Ron to keep his job? You mean?
Yeah.
I think it's got to be at least what the Giants did last year. I think we've got to get we've got to get into the playoffs. Okay, not like scraping in. I mean, but getting there reasonably comfortable. And then also win at least one playoff game. I think that's going to be like the bare minimum to keep his job. I think if they see that we're improving and we are genuinely making progress and not just getting lip service. We've seen it on the field. We're getting better. We can see we are. Why tear the team up when it's just getting just close to it? Because it's a young team. Do you know what I mean? So why would you kind of just rip it all apart? If you're finding that you're seeing some real genuine potential there and thinking, well, actually, this team as a whole is pretty good. And another couple of years of being, seasoned will take it to the next level to be, going all the way, maybe. Now, if we see a little bit of that, and I think if we get playoffs and we win one playoff game, I think Josh will go okay then, and he'll give him he'll give him a new contract. Don't forget, Ron's still got 2 years on his deal. He had a 5-year deal.
Yeah.
So he's still got 1 year left on his deal after this. But obviously, anyone can be fired any time. But in general, that's what's going to keep him for another year. And he's got to continue to improve every time. Otherwise, he'd be fired or let go. You know what I mean? The hard part is that if, say he does that, and then someone comes knocking, because obviously we're now looking a good side, someone comes knocking for EB, that's it. And what do you do then? And that's the difficult position that Harris is in. Unless Harris doesn't want EB to be head coach, and that's fair enough. You let him go. But if it's like, wait a minute, this guy's made our offense so much better, blah, 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 blah. We're now winning playoff games again. We're now doing this. Then obviously you're going to want to try and keep him, aren't you? So, and if it's the only way to do it is to give him head coaching role, sorry, Ron, got to go. Do you know what I mean? And that's the brutality of it for us, the situation we're in. I just think even to have a conversation of keeping his job, he's got to have at least one playoff win.
Yeah, I agree. And not necessarily keeping his job. I think they'll move him into another role potentially, but keeping his job as the head coach,
Just
I
depends.
agree completely with you.
Does he want that? Does he want to be something different? Does he want to be GM?
Who knows?
Does he want to be, working with Jason White on other things? No, he's a football coach, so he probably think, well, actually, I probably still feel he's still got enough in the tank to still be a head coach somewhere. So he probably won't be in the background to me. He might be offered a job, but that doesn't mean that he's going to take it. You know what I mean? So, because we'll think he's going to retire. He's only like mid-50s. Now, Pete Carroll's but he's 70 odd. Do you know what I mean? He's still going, head coach. It's he's got still in his life. He really wants to work it. He probably could work a long time as a head coach or defensive coordinator again or anything like that. No problem.
True.
3 years from him.
So Kyle Ronick, the podfather from the Burgundy Zone, has sent us a tweet. We really appreciate your question. He said, "Which player do you predict will make the highlight play of the week? And it has to be a non-starter."
I think Kaliki Hudson.
Oh, great shout.
Yeah. I think he come in, as he does, he gets a few snaps even there, and he'll come up with a huge play for us when we need it. That's what I think. Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Percy Butler. I think Percy Butler takes an interception. He's very good at doing that. He has done that a few times in OTAs. So I'm going to go with Percy Butler there. I think he shows out and gives the coaches something to think about because, we've got Quan Martin there.
Yeah,
we've got others as well.
Isn't he like a starter? I mean, if you think about kind of where you play, you've got Cam, you've got Quan, who's probably going to play the Buffalo. Mm-hmm. Still got you've got the other guy as well, haven't you? Your boy, what's his name? Safety, fifth rounder. What's his name?
Derek Forrest.
Forrest.
Yeah.
You're probably still with him. So they're probably going to be the three main starters, aren't they? Unless.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, so fair enough. Yeah. I was thinking Butler could be kind of a.
He's in between, isn't he? He's a tweener between. He's a tweener between the starter and the just coming off the bench. So Jeff, but great question, Kyle. And I'd like you to reply to that and just tell us who you think is going to make that outstanding play this week. I mean, are we going down the route of Mitchell Tinsley? Are we looking at, as we talked about before, the Kaz Allens of the world? Who knows? They're right at the bottom rosters. Maybe. Who knows?
Punt return for 99 yards and a touchdown. That'd be awesome.
Can you imagine it? And then we've got Jesse from the Bleeding Burgundy podcast has said, how many total sacks will Chase and Montez have this year? And I'm in the dark now.
Get your light on, you stinge.
Yeah, it's all right. I just need to pay the electric bill on this villa. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's all good. So yeah, how many total sacks will Chase and Montez have this year? Gonna be tough. We talked about this before, I think, didn't we? Yeah. Double figures for both is very, very hard, I think.
Definitely. It is definitely hard. I'm thinking 16.
16. Yeah, that is a great shout. I mean,
I think, I think like it's going to be something like 10 for Montez, 6 for Che, something like that.
I will go 18 scouts. I think I'm going to go a bit higher, but I don't think they get double digits. Both of them. I think you're probably right. I think maybe one of them will get double digits. I think I don't know. It might be Chase. He's looking fantastic.
Well, I hope I would say if he's back to anything like he was in college, then he's definitely got some of the attributes to make that work. But yeah, man, the difference is that Montez is that close to every time. And if he could just step up that little bit more, like Dewan Payne did this year, step a little bit because he was always close, but never really got the tackle. Do you know what I mean? Never got the sack. Then Dewan got the sacks. He got paid. If Montez can just do exactly the same thing, Montez's numbers will go straight through the roof because he's always there. He just never gets that final sack. So
contract year for both of them as well. So it'd be very, very interesting.
Both be very motivated. I just think Sweat is actually the better player. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. He's got the better. I
Not
think
as
he's got the
not as
better
flash, not as
wheelhouse. Yeah.
flash. You know what I mean? He's not a flash guy, but he sets the edge great. You know, and he also and he's
Hmm.
quarterback. So, and he's so tall, so long. His arms are massive. He can so many battered down balls he does as well from quarterback throws. Where Chase doesn't do any of that really. Do you know what I mean? So, so and plus he's not as injury prone. He does get injured, but he's not like career enders like Chase nearly had. So
Yeah.
he's had a fractured jaw and stuff like that. He's been out of jaw, but again, that's fixed now, so it's not a problem. But yeah, man, it's just yeah. I hope I eat crow and I'll put my hand up and I'll say Chase got 12 sacks this year, brilliant. I'll eat crow, but I think is at the moment it's 6 best for him.
Fair enough.
Best.
Well, that's it. That's it in Scouts for this week. We honestly, if you're going to training camp, enjoy it. Have a great time. Football's back. It's going to be amazing for you all to have the opportunity to go and see that. So if you are getting the chance to do that, great. Week 1 is trending towards being sold out. They've now sold.
I called
Yeah,
that
you
months
did.
ago,
You
mate.
called
I
that
said,
months ago.
This is going to be a sellout. Then I was like, yeah, no sellout, mate. Seriously, 70,000 going to be there, man. I think it's what it holds nowadays, isn't it? He corned off some of it, didn't he, at the top?
70,004 Brits, I think now.
I
think we've got an extra one. I think we've got an extra one in Paul, haven't we? I think.
Oh, that's right.
He's
Yeah,
going out,
Paul's
isn't he? So
yeah. It's good.
and I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. So yeah, that's it for this week. The round table is going to be recorded on the 10th. I think next week we've got another pod. Not sure who we're going to have on that. Might have a guest on from the Cardinals potentially, who's a UK fan who will be actually in attendance week 1 as well. So that'll be quite interesting to see if we can get him on the pod. Yeah. So we'll meet him. We've said we'll meet up with him and have a bit of a tailgate in the red zone lot. So that'll be quite cool to see him too. But yeah, we're looking forward to the 10th, which will be our roundtable NFC East special. So please stay tuned to that. Thanks everyone for downloading and subscribing. Numbers again last week's scouts through the roof. I think it's just because no one's podding, so we're stealing all them views. So look, thank you. We're going to stay consistent. We're looking forward to having a lot more to talk about moving forward. But yeah, thanks for being with us. We appreciate you.
Same. Thanks again, guys. Bye.